Hopefully you guys enjoyed the gameplay for the build that I'm about to share. And before we go any further, in my opinion, this is gonna be the best build if you don't want to break your fingers. Just keep on spamming the skill buttons. And I like the builds to be somewhat comfortable to play on my iPhone, my iPad, and I don't like the button mashing build at all. And before we go any further, I will be running 1 minute test here so you guys can also see the amount of damage that I am getting. For the legendary gem setup, there is going to be a separate guide for that, especially that is going to target free-to-play player and the small spender. My gem setup is pay to win, and it would not make much sense for a lot of people out there who are low spenders or free to play. So I will be recommending you guys to go check out this video guide on your screen. That is going to help you maximize your damage as a low spender or free to play. But this is what we are getting with my current setup, and we are not even button mashing, and my fingers are perfectly fine. We're gonna go for 1 minute damage test here, and then we will see the amount of damage I was able to get. And there we go, it is about 1.6 million damage per second, and this is with my pay to win setup. And again, go check out the guide that you are seeing on your screen. The link is going to be in the description as well. Now let's dive straight into the skills that I am using for this build. It is going to be Magic Missile, Lightning Nova, Slow Time, and Arcane Torrent, Disintegrate. Now we're going to go dive into some of the important stats that we will be needing for this build, starting with if you can get Slow Time effect remain on any enemy for 1.5 seconds after they leave. This is going to basically extend the duration of the slow time skill for us, and this is going to be super awesome. And then try and stack up as much beneficial duration you can, either from the chest or the legs, or you can try and get that on the runes as well. You can try and get that on the belt and the shoes here. They also give you the beneficial duration, and then you can try and get beneficial duration on your reforged bonuses. And moving on to the next important stat, in my opinion, it is gonna be the critical hit chance. Try and get as much critical hit chance from your head, and then the shoulder, it also add the critical hit chance. And if you get critical hit damage on the top, it is going to be even better. Then from the main hand, try and get more critical hit chance, and same from the off hand. And you can see I have about 30% critical hit chance right now, and I am using Rolling Consequence. That gives me a bit more critical hit chance. But if you don't have a Rolling Consequence, I highly recommend going with Mother Lament instead. So those are going to be some of the important stats. And now, before we go any further, some important eternal affixes that you can get. It is going to be for the Arcane Torrent. Let me quickly find Arcane Torrent. Summon one Arcane Bolt to orbit you and dealing 8,600 additional damage. I have 2 of these, so this is how it looks. 2 Arcane Torrent basically surround me and deal some extra damage. So this is going to be something that I will recommend with this build. And you can even try and get the eternal affixes that gives you more primary attack speed. That is going to help you with the single target. Moving on to the curse properties, this is what I am using to add some bleeding on the target. It is because I am also using 2 pieces of Feasting Baron and Banquet, and that helps me deal a bit more damage. And on the top of that, I have a Seeping Valve, which is basically damage over time gems. But speaking of the set pieces, let's dive straight into that. I am equipped with 4 pieces of Virtus. The first 2 gives me 30% beneficial duration. It helps us increase the duration of skills like Slow Time Lightning Nova, Arcane Torrent. It is going to be super important. And then the next two piece, 4-piece bonus, gives us the attack speed. This is going to help us do more damage versus stronger enemies like the bosses or the elite enemies in challenge dungeon raids. This is going to help us quite a lot with these things target. And then I am equipped with 2-piece Banquet of Ice. Like I said, I have bleeding and poison on my build, and once I apply that, I do 15% increased damage to the enemy suffering from poison and the bleeding. And to extend the duration of poison and bleeding, I am using 2-piece Feasting Baron, extending the duration of bleeding and poison onto these enemies, so I can keep up the buff from the banquet for longer. And if you will be using Pain Clasp, it is going to benefit you even more, keeping the stacks of Pain Clasp working for longer. Now let's dive straight into the essences. We are using the headpiece for the slow time, and slow time now surround you with a static field that follow you, damaging and applying shock to or nearby enemy. Once we will apply shock to the enemy, all of our lightning based skills will deal 50% more damage to them, and we will be dealing 50% more damage from the slow time itself, lightning nova and disintegrate. So this is going to be super important. And then for the chest, it is for the lightning nova. Lightning Nova now calls a lightning orb to orbit you, dealing damage to enemies it hit, and Nova damage is increased by 18%. This skill will be doing 50% more damage to the enemies under the effect of the shock. And then the shoulder is for the disintegrate. Disintegrate now surround you with a entropic field that follow you, damaging, making enemies vulnerable to critical hits. And again, the skill is going to be the lightning based. And then our legs is fortified entropy, dealing more damage. Actually, disintegrate deal 30% increased damage to enemies within 3 yards. And since the disintegrate range is basically 2 or 3 yards, we will be doing a lot more damage with the disintegrate. And then our main hand is for the Arcane Torrent. Arcane Torrent now create a chaotic orb that moves with you, fires arcane missiles at random nearby enemies, and Arcane Torrent damage is increased. And then we are using the another main hand for the Lightning Nova. Lightning Nova increase your attack speed, primary attack speed by 30% for 4.8 seconds, and we can increase this duration up to almost 8-9 seconds thanks to having more beneficial duration. And our first main hand is going to be for the Lightning Nova. Again, when Lightning Nova hits a shocked enemy, it unleash another Lightning Nova, and we can basically have 2 Lightning Nova working at the same time. And then we are using Blaster Cast for the magic missile to do a bit more damage versus single target like bosses, elites, and this is gonna be the build for the Paragon. This is what I am using. You can try and pick some different nodes here for the Slinger, but Slinger is what I am gonna recommend everyone using, and I personally use that release for my build, but you can try and play with this and see what works better for you. And that's gonna be the build. Hopefully you guys will enjoy it, and now I'm signing off. See you all in the next one. Later, guys.